Let me teach you how to get approved for an EIN only business loan from a big national bank with fair or poor credit. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Q Show. How are you today? I hope you're all doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you had to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's convo, I want to speak to you about how to get approved for an EIN only business loan from a big national bank with fair or poor credit. A lot of people believe that if you have a poor or fair credit, you can never qualify for an EIN only business loan from a big national bank. That is not true. Our research has proven it. We have spoken to insiders. We have all the facts. The first thing you need to do is to identify the lending banks, because not all banks are equal when it comes to granting EIN only business loans, especially for entrepreneurs who have a poor or fair credit. So you need to identify the lending banks. So here are the big banks that lend to poor or fair credit. I want you to see on the screen right now the top 15 national banks in the United States by assets as of December 2021. Okay, so we have the first one, JP Morgan, with $3 trillion in assets, all the way to Citizens Financial Group at the $185 billion. So I want you to really pay attention to this list, because this is actually all the big banks that we have in the country right now. And those are banks that offer coast to coast all kinds of services to small businesses and established businesses, to small, medium-sized, and large businesses. Now, I want you to look on the screen right now. There's another snapshot that I want you to look right now. Here are in green those banks that lend to poor or fair credit. So we have Bank of America, Wells Fargo, U.S. Bank Corp, Truist Bank, this is SunTrust Bank. We have TD Group, U.S. Holdings, Fifth Third Bank, and Citizens Financial Group. What I'm trying to say here is that those are banks who, based on our research and based on research from other consulting companies, that lend to poor or fair credit. Does it mean that if you have poor credit, you can never get a loan, a business loan from Chase, for example? Of course you could. It's all about how you play the game, how you actually structure the relationship. Do you have an MPR with the bank? Okay, so you still stand a chance to qualify for a business loan from Chase or Citigroup or PNC, for that matter, even if you have poor or fair credit. I just wanted to highlight for you those banks that have been known across the board to be more, I would say, friendlier to businesses that have poor or fair credit. Step number two. Step number one, you need to identify lending banks. Step number two, you need to know the criteria. Obviously, when we speak about an EIN only business loan, you need to understand the criteria. If you have no information about the requirements, you're not going to qualify. So you need to know, you need to speak to the bank, and it's always better to start with your bank. All right. Before you go to another bank, I want you to start with a big national bank with which you currently are. Okay. You want to have requirements for annual revenue. Very important. Usually the revenue requirements go from $10,000, that's gross income, all the way to $50,000. In other words, as long as you make 100 grand a year to $500,000, you should be fine. But again, please check with the specific big national bank where you currently are. And then you have an updated business plan. Big decision time. Let me ask you a question. Do you currently have an updated business plan? No, I want you to talk to me now. Well, the thing here is that a lot of people believe that you only need a business plan when you are a startup, or you are looking for money from investors. But guess what? Banks and lenders, for that matter, all lenders for that matter, also want to have an updated business plan. Why? Because they look at the ka-ching in your business plan. They're looking for the liquidity situation, the cash flow statements. That's what they pay attention to. At the end of the day, big national banks don't give a about your income or your sector. They give more focus on your revenue. Okay, it's important to pay attention to that, your revenue, but also your liquidity. Additional collateral. There are some EIN only business loans that require some kind of collateral. Okay, so you have to pay attention. When we speak about collateral, is it at the personal level or at the business level? Ideally, you want to do everything at the business level. You want to divorce your personal affairs from the business's affairs. In other words, you want to deal with the big bank, with the big national bank on an EIN only basis, meaning that you are separating your assets, your personal assets from the business assets, okay? And when we speak about collateral, this could be any assets, any business asset that you want to pledge. This could be accounts receivable. This could be inventory. This could be equipment, whatever it is, but you have to check with your lender. And there are other criteria that an EIN only business lender wants to see. For example, they want to pay attention to your financial statements, so your balance sheets, your income statements, your statement of cash flows, and your statement of owner's equity. They might want to see, for instance, your business tax returns, your business insurance plans, your incorporation documents, all that kind of stuff. Step number 3, you want to check your credit scores. You heard me right. I said credit scores. It's very important, even though we are paying attention to, we are talking about getting an EIN only business loan from a big national bank with poor or fair credit, we still need to check the credit score at the personal level, but also at the business level. First, the personal level. Why do you need that? Because at the end of the day, unless you are a big company, the bank is going to look at your business application holistically. They're going to pay attention to not only the business, but also the person running the business. All right. So why do you need a personal credit score? You want to make sure there are no derogatory items, no invalid, no improper, no inaccurate derogatory items in your FICO score, in your FICO report rather. Okay. And you can do this very simply. You can actually check your credit score for free. You go to a website called annualcreditreport.com. And once a year, Congress has mandated that the 3 major credit bureaus, that is Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, make available to all citizens their credit report. So once a year. You can also sign up for services like NerdWallet or Wallet Hub or Credit Karma to get a free copy of your credit report. Okay, and that's at the personal level. You can also get your business credit score, which I strongly encourage you to. You can't get this for free. You have to pay for it, but you can get your IntelliScore, your Paydex, your SBFE. Let me ask you a question. Big decision time. Do you currently have your Paydex score? Do you know your Paydex score? Do you even know which credit bureau produces that Paydex score? No? Yes? It's Dun & Bradstreet, DNB. So you have the IntelliScore. This is also important. SBFE stands for Small Business Financial Exchange. This is important also. There is some kind of interrelation between both scores. So you have to really pay attention. So for instance, if you are applying for a business loan from a big national bank with an EIN only, and you have a really poor credit score, right? But you have some kind of criminal background or whatever. I'm just speculating here. This could affect your business loan. So you really have to be careful about the interrelation between those 2 scores. Step number 4, you need to identify the loan types. Not all business loans, EIN business loans from big banks are created equal. It's important to have a clear idea of what kind of loan you want, why you need the money, and because they will ask you for the use of loan proceeds, and you need to know exactly the maturity. When we speak about loan types rather, we have to mention also the loan terms. Some loan types they mature over a longer period of time. For instance, if you take the SBA loans, you're looking at 10 years and maybe 25 years for real estate purchases. All right. So let's just go through the typology of EIN only business loans real quick. So you have term loans. So this is the common form of EIN only business financing from big banks. Okay, you get a lump sum of cash upfront, which you then repay with interest over a predetermined period. And you have and big banks can offer loans up to $1 million, and they can actually even go all the way to 10 millions, depending upon the relationship you have with the bank. Then you have SBA loans. SBA loans are loans that are backed by the government of the United States of America. So the SBA stands for the Small Business Administration. Okay, so the SBA will guarantee those loans, but the loans themselves are offered by banks and other lenders. Repayment periods really depend on how you plan to use the money, but they go from 10 years all the way, as I said, 10 years to 25 years. And then you have business lines of credit. This could be also on an EIN only basis, right, from a big bank. And this kind of loans provides access to funds up to your credit limit, and you pay interest only on the money you have drawn. And a business line of credit can provide more flexibility than a term loan. But again, it's a form of EIN only, business credit. Then you have equipment loans, okay? And those are for the, if you want to buy, say, trucks or some kind of machinery for your business, you might need that. Those are collateralized loans. You have invoice factoring. A lot of big banks don't offer that kind of service. This is more for alternative lenders and online lenders. But we have seen we have seen some community banks offering this kind of service, this kind of funding service. But overall, the big national bank, they are trying to stay away from invoice factoring. You also have invoice financing, which is kind of similar, which is kind of related to invoice factoring. Big banks don't offer that. Same thing for merchant cash advances. And so what I'm trying to say here is that you need to be aware of the type of loans that big national bank offers. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. I'm still having a conversation with you about how to get approved for an EIN only business loan from a big national bank if you have poor or fair credit. Step number 5. So step number 1, you want to identify lending banks. Number 2, you want to know the criteria. Number 3, you want to check your credit scores. Number 4, you want to identify loan types. Number 5, you want to get prepared. What do I mean by that? If you want to get an EIN only business loan, obviously you want to actually have some kind of paperwork ready, right? Because banks are known at digging into all the kind of information you give them, so they know exactly what you are providing. You want to have your financial statements. Here again, you have your balance sheets, your income statements, your statement of cash flows, and your statement of owner's equity, in addition to a fifth financial statements called note to financial statements. This is not really a financial statement. This is more like disclosures. You want to explain the numbers. You want to provide context. You want to provide analysis. Again, it depends on how much you are applying for. If you're just applying for 50 grand, you don't need that. If you're applying for 5 million or 10 million, you bet the banks want to know more about the financial statements and the disclosures. You also might need a business plan. This is quintessential. I don't care how profitable your business is. If you want to get an EIN only business loan from a big national bank and you have fair or poor credit, you want to actually appear professional. And first impression counts, folks. First impression counts. You need to talk about liquidity. You want to pay attention to liquidity. At the end of the day, and we've said this time and again, big national banks and all lenders for that matter don't give a about whether you are making your sales are going up, all that kind of stuff. You are having double-digit revenue growth. They don't give a about that. They give a about liquidity. Are you making money? I'm not speaking about accounting income. I'm speaking about cash. Is the company generating enough cash? Because if you're going for a big national bank, they probably will be lending you 1 million or 2 million. They want to make sure you will have enough cash to repay the loan. And that makes sense. You also need to pay attention to your DTI, your company DTI, debt to income ratio, credit utilization. You need to have your EIN, articles of incorporation or organization, and business permits and licenses, among other things. Step number 6, folks, you need to clarify the use of loan proceeds. Banks are known at making sure that the purpose of the loan is clear, and this is for AML purposes, for regulatory purposes, anti-money laundering. They want to make sure that the cash they're giving you is for operational purposes. So if you want to boost your chances of being approved, there are a few things you need to put on the loan application form. If they ask you, what do you need the money for, you can put something like everyday operations. Of course, I'm not telling you to lie here, okay? I'm just telling you the kind of use of loan proceeds that the banks have been known to approve easily, okay? So everyday operations, everything from payroll to rent to marketing, the cost of daily operations, you can use that. You can use a loan from a big bank to cover that. You can also use the cash to buy equipment or machinery. You can use the cash to do tenants improvements, what people call TIs, okay? And this can include installing a new kitchen for a restaurant or offices for a law firm. The landlord may give you, the renter, the small business owner, an allowance to pay for all or some of the tenants' improvements, but anything above that amount is paid for by the tenants, okay? This is where a small business loan from a big national bank can be used to finance any remaining project cost. You can use the money for inventory. Okay, if you are, let's say you are in an industry where you are subject to seasonality or cyclicality, for instance, you can get an EIN only business loan from a big national bank to cover that sort of liquidity gap. What about debt refinance? If you're lucky enough and you have a strong relationship with your bank and you're able to get a big loan at a lower APR, guess what? You can actually do some kind of liquidity arbitrage here where you can refinance debts. So you can take, let's say you got a loan from Chase, a business loan from Chase or PNC, right? And they gave you a 5% or 6%, and you have loans out there that are sitting on your balance sheet at 10%. Do a balance, a loan consolidation. You can refinance the debt. You can also use the money to start a franchise. You can expand your business. You can stay competitive. Last but not the least, folks, this is very important. You want to connect with the bank. If you want to, and I said this at the beginning of this show, that the primary criterion here is the primary goal of yours should be to establish an MPR with the bank. You need to have a multi-product relationship with the bank. You want to start with your current bank. If you have a big national bank, start with them. If you don't, you want to open one ASAP. So when I'm speaking about connecting with the bank, I'm telling you to have a checking account, a business checking account, a business savings account. If you have enough cash sitting on the side, why don't you open business CDs? Big decision time. Let me ask you a question. Big decision time. Do you have extra cash right now? Is your company generating enough cash to cover the basics and then maybe save a little bit? If you are in that lucky position, I want to encourage you right now to start to open some kind of CDs to save some cash. Now, I hear you. The rates are kind of low right now. The rates, the APY, the annual percentage yields are kind of low right now. But you know what? Cash is cash. It's better to have the cash for better moments than use the cash to speculate on the stock market, especially if you need the money for working capital purposes. You can also open IRAs, individual retirement accounts. You can open a business brokerage account with the bank. Of course, I'm not asking you to invest in highly speculative products. You can have, for instance, bonds, treasury bills. Those are more for risk-averse purposes. Okay, and if the bank offers insurance products, why not sign up for those products? Why not buy insurance policies with the bank? It's all about having a mutually beneficial relationship, right? So if you want to buy auto, health, or life insurance products from an insurance company, and your bank happens to offer the same products, go ahead and buy from them. Same thing with the services. So they offer payroll services, merchant services. At the end of the day, you want to push a lot of business your bank's way, so that they, in return, can also help you out with an EIN only business loan. At the end of the day, you also want to talk to a banker first. So, you can talk to your accounts relationship manager or a loan rep. You want to go to a branch, or you want to speak to someone on the phone. All right, folks, this is it for today's conversation. I was talking to you about how to get approved for an EIN only business loan from a big national bank with fair or poor credit. And number one, you want to identify lending banks. Number two, you want to know the criteria. Number three, check your business and personal credit scores. Number four, identify the loan types. Number five, you want to get prepared. Number six, you want to clarify the use of loan proceeds. And number seven, last but not the least, you want to connect with the bank. Thank you so much for your attention. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.